Today we're going to start off with some best of Redditor updates. Am I the a-hole for eating the food my father-in-law served me and ruining my boyfriend and I's holiday? Trigger warning, food poisoning. Oh boy, here we go. Background info. I, male 41, am a white American and my boyfriend, male 38, is Moroccan and half black. His parents took a dislike to me the moment that we met. We've been together for 2 years and he lives in America. The incident in question took place a few days ago. This is only my second time meeting his parents. His mother has been relatively quiet, but it's obvious she feels the same as his father, who is on an all-out warpath. They think I'm a typical useless American party boy and not good enough for their son, who is an all-around goody two-shoes. They are wealthy government employees who think that they're contributing a lot to the world, unlike me. Now, it's important to note that I am also wealthy, self-made, and high-ranking in my career, so I'm not attempting to get on any gravy train. My boyfriend and I are staying at their home in Morocco. The four of us sat down for dinner, cooked by their private chef. Everybody got a bowl of some Moroccan food that smelled really good. I noticed that mine looked paler than the others and didn't have as much of a smell. I didn't comment at first, but then his father outright said, as if he was doing me a favor, that he told the chef to put a portion for me aside before she added any of the seasoning, because he thought that my palate wouldn't handle the spice well. I have no issues with spicy food. I could tell that my boyfriend was already uncomfortable, and he told his father that I could eat what they're eating. I managed to keep my cool, despite being really pissed off, and told him in no uncertain terms that I could handle spicy food. Next thing, he took my food and went back to the kitchen. When he returned, my food was a shade darker than everyone else's. I realized after the first bite that it wasn't just spicy, it was inedible. My boyfriend noticed my reaction and told his father off before telling me to stop eating it, but I didn't. I ate the damn food, and I have never in my life eaten anything like it. There must have been an entire bottle of hell in it. The pain. But I persevered, much to my boyfriend's protests. His father simply watched. I was sweating buckets. I felt sick. Almost had an asthma attack. Another reason that my boyfriend was angry with me, because I put myself at risk, but I ate the whole bowl. Then I left the table victorious, but dying a death. Fast forward, I've been in bed for 3 days, and I still feel messed up. May not survive. My boyfriend says I should have been the bigger person and that there were no winners, that eating the whole bowl was as childish as his father was for serving it and harmed only me. He's been taking care of me, but he's also blaming me. I don't think I was the a-hole, even if the last 3 days of our vacation have gone down the drain. Too long didn't read. My boyfriend's father served me inedible food to be petty, so I ate it to be petty and derailed mine and my boyfriend's vacation plans, and I wouldn't change a thing. Am I the a-hole? Okay, so without going on to the update that follows this, personally, I don't think that they are. Now, I myself, I would not be able to handle spicy food, unfortunately. For anybody that knows me, that may be listening to this, you know that I have insane stomach problems. Even just something with a little bit of milk in it is like an immediate debuff on me, and I'm out of commission for probably about 2 weeks. And spicy food, that is so much worse. But again, yeah, I don't believe this person's in the wrong. I mean, yeah, you know, they probably shouldn't have eaten it, obviously, you know, knowing that it could have hurt them. This doesn't really sound like that serious of a thing either. I mean, I can see why the boyfriend is kind of upset because it has derailed their plans, but sometimes you just kind of want to be that person to be petty, you know, just to show the person up. And I feel like they kind of did, but at the same time, they kind of, you know, took damage there. Don't know if it was really worth it, but yeah, right on, you know? Some of the comments that followed up on the original post as well has people agreeing that this person is not the a-hole. So I don't feel like I'm wrong in my general assessment either here. But again, being down and out with food poisoning is not fun either way, so this is honestly a rough one in my opinion. But alright, let's move on to the update, which was posted 2 days later. Update. I have apologized and I am forgiven. I punished myself enough for his liking. But he agrees that his father is an a-hole and he could stand up for me more. I'm out now. Appreciate the responses and the laughs. Final update. Father-in-law has admitted that he didn't think in a million years I would actually eat the food. The point was that it was going to be inedible, but he won't apologize because I chose to do it. My a-hole and I have reached a wary truce. Thank you all for the well wishes. Well, that's good. It sounds like you're feeling better, and that's fantastic. Food poisoning is absolutely horrible, and you know, the pain you go through afterwards from eating spicy food, especially when you go to the bathroom, can be pretty awful. I would know because I used to love eating Takis, and God, those things would put me out of commission for quite a bit. I miss spicy food, man. That is funny, though. My a-hole and I have reached a wary truce. I couldn't have come up with a better sentence if I wanted to. All right, our next one. I, 31 female, had a conversation with my boyfriend, 31 male, and the rose-tinted glasses came off. How can I navigate this? Hello, all. I, 31 female, have been with my partner, 31 male, for 1.5 years. We love each other. It has been rocky at times, and we have nearly been through a breakup, but each time we talked it out and believed, we pulled through. The main subject of contention has always been his hobby and subsequent club. He's on the volunteer committee, has meetings every Monday, and goes every Wednesday and Thursday evening, along with some Friday evenings as well as Saturday and Sunday mornings. He also spends several weekends away out of the year to do the hobby and uses holiday time for it too. He does admin outside of this also, and has been in trouble at work for doing site admin during work hours, and has even done admin during our quality time. There have been several incidents at the club with him being on the committee. He has spent a lot of time dealing with it, so much so that it affects his mental health poorly. He has even canceled plans and changed date nights with me to prioritize his hobby. This has caused many arguments and conversations which stem from him making a hobby his priority and how he wants me to just slot into his current lifestyle. I explained that this couldn't happen, and we have compromised to try and make it work. I believed things had turned a corner, however something changed today. The local Pride Parade is coming up, and I expressed my want to go. We did not make any explicit plans to go together, but he stated if he was available, he would go. He knows how excited I was at this prospect, and knows how much this means to me. However, he messaged me to say he was now doing his hobby instead and couldn't go. Now, he said he was asked to go and asked me if this was okay. I felt like I couldn't say no, as in the past I've said no, and been made to feel guilty because I'm stopping him from doing his hobby. I'm not that kind of person. People make choices. That's their decision, not mine. However, I asked him if he ever wanted to go to the Pride event, and he said, I would have, but my hobby is more important. And then something in me just clicked. This event is important to me. It's something I'm excited about. It's something I want to do. The amount of times I've sat and taken him to his hobby, watched, helped, and supported him without fail, and sometimes without being asked. He doesn't do the same for me, because it's not as important to him. It felt like he was saying, I'm not interested in what you find important, because it's not important to me, and by extension, you're not as important as my hobby. I didn't feel anger, or hurt, or disappointed. In fact, I didn't feel anything. And that's it. I didn't feel anything for or from him. No love, no support, no companionship. Nothing. All the times I'd given up my time, wants, and needs to support him, and yet here I am with something very important to me and nothing. I felt nothing. The option was there. There was a choice. But I'm conflicted. I love him. We've navigated things before. How can I navigate this further? What advice would you give someone? Any advice, strangers of Reddit, would be appreciated. Okay, so from my perspective, this sounds like something that you need to communicate to your partner about. It sounds like they're not understanding the importance of something like this to you. Maybe they're just kind of pulled into their hobby, and I'm not excusing them for this behavior because it seems like things are pretty uneven here. Ultimately, if you're dating somebody, you're going to express interest in the things that make them happy, whether that's going out with them somewhere or, just listening to them talk about their day. I know sometimes Reddit can get a little crazy, and it can be something pretty minor. Honestly, I believe this is, I think that this isn't the kind of territory where you would consider like a breakup or something. But then you'll have posts on Reddit where people will be like, nope, that's it. Break up. It's time to move on. Like, relationship's over. And this couldn't be, any further from that point, in my opinion. I just personally think that maybe priorities are kind of out of whack here. And, I get it. Everybody has their hobbies, and I think it's important to have hobbies that you enjoy. But if your partner doesn't show interest in that, that's kind of sad. So in a situation like this, I think the best thing that somebody could do is maybe, sit your partner down and explain to them how you feel. You've come on Reddit and you've posted to a bunch of strangers, talking about this, but have you sat down with your significant other and expressed how you're feeling to them? Now, if it's a situation where you have done that, then that is a problem, obviously. And if they can't put you before their hobby, then that's definitely a red flag. Now, of course, this is my opinion before reading the update. I haven't gotten to that yet, so let's go ahead and see what the update says, because it's possible that maybe they already did that. Maybe things worked out, fingers crossed. Let's see. So this update was posted the following day. Thank you all for the comments. I'm reading through each one as we speak. I might not reply because I'm still soaking in all the insight. Common questions. To those asking what the hobby is, it's a sport and a very niche one, so I'm not going to detail what it is because that's not fair on that sport or the people in it. He isn't cheating. I've been with him on the weekends and take him to the sport. No, I'm not karma fishing. Thanks, bot accusers. Oof. Throwaway new account as I posted on my old account and didn't interact enough, hence throwaway. I honestly don't care for the whole karma thing. I'm seeing him tonight and will show him the post. Okay, perfect. So it seems like they're going to talk to their partner. And there's another update, which it seems was posted 9 days later. So let's see what this says. Updating here as I haven't the freaking foggiest how to do updates. Sorry for not responding to everyone in the comments. I got overwhelmed, honestly. We broke up. Dude, no way. Reading your responses and information and questions was super helpful and gave me the slap I needed to get my arse in gear and leave. Just going through the motions as you do. Now we're no longer together. The hobby, sailing, effing sailing. All the damn time. I'm gonna go focus on me and go back to being a single bisexual goddess and enjoy Pride Month with people who actually care. Alright, okay, so... I guess they broke up. That's unfortunate. I still stand by what I said. I mean, it's hard to kind of navigate something like this when you're reading from like a third-person perspective because you don't know all the details of somebody's relationship. A lot of information is left out. So it's possible that there's stuff that happened that we're not even aware of, right? I mean, you're kind of given what you're given from OP, the original poster, and you just kind of roll with that. Now, that being said, there's nothing wrong, I guess, with how this ended. I think it's important to look out for yourself. Do what's right for you. Maybe both of these people will be happier moving on and doing their own thing, and that's okay. Now, before I move on to the next story, I will say it's strange that they said it was a sport, because I would have never considered it a sport myself. No offense to anybody who does it, but sailing, I didn't even consider that being what they were talking about. So that's pretty wild. It's really not what I expected. Either way, at the end of the day, I think regardless of what your hobby is or what you're doing, I think it's important to make time for your partner and not put your hobbies first, because that's definitely a recipe for disaster. This is a good example of that. If you love somebody and you're in a relationship, I think it's important to definitely make time for your partner and their hobbies. But all right, moving on. My 26 female friend, also 26 female, has accused me of stealing her boyfriend. The boyfriend, 25 male, had no idea they were dating. Well, this already sounds wild. Names changed to respect privacy and throwaway account. Honestly, no idea where to start with this, and sorry if it's long. I, 26 female, have been friends with Carly, also 26, since middle school. We lost touch after I moved out of state for law school, but our parents are still friends. I moved back to our home state last year when I graduated and met Matt, 25 male. We bonded instantly, as we're both studying to be lawyers. Matt should graduate this year if all goes well. Because of studying and work, we've taken things really slowly and only just recently became official. I decided to invite him to my sister's 21st birthday party. It was a huge party at my parents' house back in my hometown. Both Matt and I work and live separately, about an hour away. We'd been at the party for about an hour when Carly arrived with her parents. I was excited to see her as I'd been meaning to get back in touch since I'd moved back. The timing had never been right. Well, Carly spotted us and hurried over. I was surprised when she gave Matt a huge hug and asked him what he was doing at the party. Turns out they work in the same building and Matt is friends with a few of Carly's friends. They've been out on group nights together a few times. I did the whole, "Oh, Carly, this is my boyfriend Matt" thing, and her face instantly fell. She looked furious with me and ignored me for the rest of the party. I sent her messages the next morning asking if I had done something wrong. Carly blew up at me and accused me of stealing her boyfriend, and I soon got several rude messages from mutual friends saying something similar. I met up with Matt and asked him what the hell was going on. I had assumed that once we'd made it official, we were exclusive. Matt had no idea what I was talking about. I relayed Carly's messages and he was even more confused. He said that he had got on with Carly when they had seen each other, but it had never been anything more than a friendship. He didn't think anything of them spending time together outside of work with friends, so that's why I didn't know he and Carly worked in the same building. It's been a week since the party, and I'm still getting messages from people asking how I could do that to Carly. I've tried saying over and over again that Matt and Carly weren't dating, but it's falling on deaf ears. Even my parents have heard about it from Carly's parents. I have zero idea what the hell to do. Where do I go from here? I trust Matt completely, but what do I do about Carly? Edit. People have asked about friends who have sent me messages. They are all mutual friends of myself and Carly who we've known since high school. None of them, as far as I know, have ever met Matt. None of his work friends who also know Carly have sent me messages. Also, I've spoken to Carly and we are meeting up tomorrow to talk. Interesting. So there's something strange definitely going on here. Either she's really confused and thinks she's dating him, or maybe Matt's lying. Either way, this doesn't seem like the fault of OP. Hopefully meeting up can actually solve whatever issue is going on here. And I assume we're going to find that out in the update here. But either way, this sounds like an absolute mess. All right, let's get to the update that was posted the next day and see what happens. Update. Well, I met up with Carly. They're not dating and never were, so Matt isn't a cheater. Okay, so right off the bat, we know the answer here. So what happened here to make Carly think that she was dating Matt? I met up with Carly this morning at a coffee shop in our hometown. She wasn't happy to be there, but I'm over her feelings after the past week I've had. I sat her down and asked her to give me her side of the story. I told her exactly what Matt had said to me and asked for her to explain everything. Carly met Matt last year, not long before I moved back to the state. A mutual friend in the building they both work in invited Matt to after-work drinks, and that's when they met. Carly thought he was cute and started flirting with him. Sidebar. Matt is awful at picking up flirting cues. It took weeks of me flirting with him until he realized and asked me out. This is something I always find amusing because Matt himself is really outgoing with a lot of charisma. No, they never spent any time alone together apart from the odd run to a coffee shop near their building to grab lunch. I went through Carly's phone and there are no messages from Matt apart from ones in their group chat. They haven't kissed or slept together. Carly has never been to Matt's apartment and Matt has never been to Carly's apartment. I asked her why she thought he was her boyfriend. This is a direct quote. So we're not officially boyfriend and girlfriend yet, but I was sure he was going to ask me really soon. He's always been smiling at me and making jokes. I know he was going to ask me out, just the two of us. I basically said, Carly, that's not him flirting with you. That's just Matt. He's a friendly guy. I'm sorry, but he and I have been seeing each other for a while now, so it's not gonna happen. I explained how we'd been taking it slow because of us both being busy with studying and work, so we've only just made it official. As I said all this, I could see Carly's elaborate fantasy crumble. I asked her to please set the record straight with her parents, for my parents' sake, and with our mutual friends. Carly looked flustered but mumbled something that sounded like, yeah, fine. I said I was sorry for the misunderstanding and hopefully we could put all this behind us. On my drive to Matt's apartment, I called him to relay everything. He was baffled by the whole thing, but said he would message Carly. Once I got there, he showed me the text. Hey Carly, look, I'm sorry if I misled you in any way with my actions. Please know that they have only ever been from a friendly place. I see us as friends, but that is all. I hope we can be friends in the future once this is all blown over, but if you're not comfortable with that, then I respect it. All the best, Matt. Carly hasn't responded yet, and I don't know if she will. Hopefully she'll set the record straight with everyone. I'm washing my hands of this mess and focusing on my relationship with Matt and my studies. Okay, so it was definitely a fantasy that Carly had cooked up. It's crazy to me that people can take a situation like this and absolutely blow it up because there was no reason to go and tell everybody else. Personally, I'm not the kind of person that would want somebody like this in my life. This whole thing could have been avoided when it comes to the mutual friends, that there's no reason in dragging other people into this kind of thing because it obviously creates an absolute mess. At least it sounds like you and Matt are doing well, so I mean, that's good. Hopefully you can move on and, now you've got things cleared out. You don't have to worry about him cheating on you. That's not the case, and that's wonderful. That's good. All right, let's move on to the next one. My ex-best friend, 25 female of 10 years, wants me, 25 female, to forgive her for sleeping with my exes. Plus 3-year update. All right, let's see. So my ex-best friend, let's call her Andrea, was my best friend for 10 years. We're at a party. I brought my fiance of a year with us. We're about 5 to 8 drinks in and everyone's feeling it. I went off to go talk to another friend while Andrea and my fiance sit at a table on the outside deck. I come back about 15 minutes later and my fiance tells me he needs to talk to me discreetly after she gets up and walks away. He tells me that she asked him, why her? Why does everyone always go for her? Why does no one go for me? And then proceeds to say, would you ever date me? Now, in the moment, I don't know if I fully believed him. About a year later, I have been broken up with my fiance for about 3 months. I started hooking up with another guy I had known. We'll call him Colby. One night, I threw a party and it got kinda crazy. I was not feeling well and was in the bathroom. While I was in the bathroom, Andrea was all over Colby. Someone had told me later that night. And as I was on Snapchat posting stuff, she takes a pic with Colby and is basically on top of him and sticking her tongue out. She sends it to me while I'm on my phone. I didn't really think much of it. 2 weeks later, a mutual friend says Andrea is sleeping with Colby and that she slept with another ex of mine after we had broken up. I messaged her and asked her, "Are you sleeping with Colby? And did you sleep with other ex?" She plays it off like she has no idea what they're talking about and says she would never do that to me. I asked, "Are you sure? If you like him, just be honest so I can stop wasting my time on Colby." And then she starts gaslighting me and asking why I would believe a mutual friend. I didn't push it after because I didn't want to start a fight with her. One night, I looked at the snap map and it showed Colby and Andrea in the same location, and I knew it in my gut. I expected it from a guy, but not from my best friend. I asked again, and she blew up, and finally admitted it after gaslighting me for 3 weeks. Then tried to make me out to be the bad guy and saying, "You always make everything about you, and you guys weren't even in a real relationship," and a bunch of other horrible things. I get into a relationship with Tyler. A few weeks later, I stupidly forgive her. 7 months later, me and Tyler take a break. We all attended a party together, and I see her flirting with him, and flashbacks of Colby came back. And long story short, we fought again and didn't talk for a very long time. A year later, I've moved out of state, and she's in a relationship with Tyler, and is pregnant with his child. I now know all of my feelings were right. I mean, her last 3 relationships were all of my exes. Another year later, she says she misses me and is sad I moved out of state and doesn't apologize for anything. I told her that I don't hold grudges, but I don't think I can fully ever be friends with her again. Update. I have blocked and removed her on everything. Should have been done sooner, but what's done is done, and I've learned my lesson. Okay, so first off, there's an update after this. So I'm wondering where that's going to go, because I feel like at this point, it would have been smart to kind of keep it like that. Just remove her and move on, because obviously this is a toxic person. I mean, it's kind of... I feel like that's usually like an unspoken rule when it comes to like friendship. You don't date your friends' exes. It's just kind of... It's strange. I'm sure there's like extenuating circumstances out there, you know, for some people where maybe they don't care or their friend groups are different or something. But in my situation, that's something that I could never do. It just feels like a scummy thing, you know. But I digress. Let's read the update, which was apparently posted 2 years and 9.5 months later. Hey everyone. I randomly came back across this post after not thinking about it for a long time and figured I'd give a real update since a lot has changed. It's been over 3 years since everything went down with Andrea, Colby, and Tyler. After I made my original update, I fully stuck to cutting Andrea off, and I've kept her blocked/no contact ever since. That was honestly one of the best decisions I made for my peace of mind. Smart. That's a good thing, but there's still more to read, so let's see what happens. So the actual update on the situation. Andrea ended up staying with Tyler for about a year, and as I told you all before, had a baby together. That relationship eventually fell apart after Tyler cheated on her, and shortly after their breakup, he even tried reaching out to me again, which I obviously didn't entertain. After all that, Andrea is now with Colby. Yes, the same Colby from my original post. So basically, she ended up in long-term situations with both the main people involved in all of this. As for me, I stayed in the relationship I moved out of state for. We've now been together for years, and things are amazing. We're building a life together. Both settled into careers, and we've been talking seriously about the future, trying for a baby, yay. Looking back, I don't really feel anger about it anymore. It was painful at the time, but it also made it very clear who I could and could not trust. Mostly, I just feel far removed from who I was when I wrote the original post. I was constantly trying to make sense of people who were treating me with basic respect, and I don't live in that space anymore. What do you think? Did I make the right decision all those years ago? I think I did. If anyone remembers this from years ago, thanks for reading back then and giving advice, and thanks again now. Okay, so like I said, I think it was the right decision. Honestly, I think it's important to cut toxic people like that out of your life for your own sanity and mental well-being. There's a lot of horrible people out there, and it's best to kind of move away from that. The quicker you cut them off, the quicker you get rid of all the frustration you're dealing with in that situation. And honestly, reading the update here, she got cheated on, so it sounds like karma bit her in the ass, honestly. I will say I think the only unfortunate thing there is that there's a child involved, and to have a kid have to deal with the mess now is unfortunate, but it is what it is. At least you're doing better. It sounds like you and your new person are in a great place, and that's fantastic. And on to the next one. New neighbors got their dream party house. I live in a house on a secondary road in a city, so it isn't a super quiet neighborhood. However, there is kind of a designated party neighborhood about a mile away from us, and we've always been outside the radius. Our new neighbors are now bringing us into the circle. They've only been here for 2 weeks and have already thrown parties with people screaming outside, loud music, and cars coming and going until 6 a.m. The non-party nights are only marginally better with fewer cars, but just as much screaming and music. The worst part is the outside noise is unpredictable and short-lived, so we're woken up at all hours of the night. And magically, it also falls outside of what the police would investigate as a noise disturbance. Just today, they started parking cars on our yard, which I was not having. I went over and started taking pictures of license plates to start documenting the cars and where they were parked, because there's a clause in our lease about loud parties and quiet enjoyment. Some people came out of the house carrying a bunch of beers saying, "Oh, is there a problem? If there's a problem, just let us know." And we went off on them. So they moved their car. There's also plenty of street and alley parking available. God knows why they decided parking on someone's yard was preferable. But for the last hour, it's been constant slamming doors. Their house is about 15 feet from ours, as they're small city lots, and yelling about random stuff. Has anyone else successfully dealt with a party house? What kind of documentation was useful when talking with the landlord/police? We have the type of landlords who really don't want to be involved with problems because that means work. Or should there be sabotage afoot? Before I get to the update, dude, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with this. I love my neighbors, and I don't even know them. The only noise that I hear in my neighborhood is just kids playing outside, and that's nothing, That's not bad at all. My neighbors are like super respectful, and sometimes they'll actually drop us off like cleaning supplies. I don't know what kind of job they work, but they have like a bunch of extra cleaning supplies, and they just drop them off at our door. So my neighbors are awesome. I'm so glad I don't have this problem. Anyway, let's check out the update, which was posted 17 months later, apparently. I posted a year ago about our terrible new neighbors who partied hard 3 times a week on the regular, throwing trash, loud music, screaming outside at 3 a.m., and most egregiously, parking their various cars on our lawn. The update is a good one. I started documenting and complained to the city about the noise. Then again. Then I started leaving poop by the driver's side doors of cars when they parked on my lawn. Oh, dear Lord. I picked up the trash they threw and wedged it between their side mirror and the car door. They were upset by this and tried to confront me, but ultimately stopped parking on our yard. Instead, they started parking on the sidewalk, like literally horizontally, parallel to the street, pulled onto the sidewalk. This proved to be their downfall. More people complained about that because it's an accessibility issue, especially being a main secondary street. The businesses down the street complained too because of the noise and the litter. It quickly snowballed into multiple people complaining to both the city and the landlord, well-known slumlord in the city. A couple months later, the people weren't given the option of renewing their lease because they were getting too close to nuisance house status and promptly moved. And then the landlord put the building up for sale because those people had completely trashed it, so one of the business owners bought it and knocked it down. No more party neighbors ever again. Moral of the story, be the squeaky wheel and find the pressure point that will make other people care too. Oh boy. And I get the trash thing. The dog poop thing is wild, especially because that's absolutely disgusting. It's not a similar thing, not a similar issue, but I know I said that I don't have issues with my neighbors, but I did just remember something. Somebody has been throwing dog poop over my backyard fence, and we don't know who's doing it. And that it grosses me out. Anything to do with poop is absolutely disgusting. Like it's pick up your dog poop. I guess. Honestly, I guess if it worked, that's fantastic. It's no longer an issue anymore. The building's been torn down, so you've got peace and quiet now. Hopefully it stays that way, but damn. Really hit him with the dog poop and the trash. All right, if you've made it this far, I just want to say thanks for watching or listening. I don't know how often I'm going to do these videos, but it's something that I think I want to do occasionally. I'll probably also try some other content on here as well. But primarily, I might be doing this on occasion. So if you like this and you're new, I guess hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you think. And that's pretty much it. Have a good rest of your day. Stay awesome.